Hi, Awesomes. Welcome to week 11. All right, so I know we've just turned in our annotated bibliographies. I'll be looking at those this week, get some feedback for you, and get those graded. I also want to just reiterate that I accept any and all work anytime. All right, so if you didn't get yours turned in for whatever reason, I know there were some technical issues last night. That's okay. Just get it submitted as soon as you can. Sooner I get it, then it just means the sooner I get an opportunity to get it back to you, hopefully really quickly, as quickly as possible. All right, so this week we're going to obviously introduce our next project. We'll start talking a little bit about later on in the week writing for an academic audience, level of formality, tone, word choice, just things like that to be thinking about that will be helpful in some of your other classes. And I've got 3 readings here this week. They're fairly short, kind of giving us some quick tips, some advice on kind of how to think about writing as we're putting together our project 3. And we'll talk about those a little bit more. But I did want to at least review project 3, kind of like, I guess, phase 1. So our purpose here is to integrate scholarly and credible sources with your own informed perspective to explore the topic focused on all semester. All right, so you started off with the proposal. You've now written the annotated bibliography with 4 of your solid, scholarly, credible sources summarized, analyzed, as well as addressed relevance of each one of your sources. So now we're going to kind of take that, and even some that we did a little bit, I want to say not all of it, it's not a copy and paste per se, but a lot of the information, think about maybe some of the background or some of the introduction information that you did use perhaps from your proposal may be relevant here. But we want to try to, the difference between this paper and the proposal is going to be the integration of sources and hopefully talking about our topic a little more in detail, more in depth. We'll take on maybe a little bit more formal tone. We'll have a different type of tone in some way because we're not necessarily asking proposal in some ways is a request type of thing, or demonstrating what could be accomplished and what it is that you're doing now. This particular, this is the research project where you've come to perhaps a resolution, or now that you've read more about it, now that you're a little bit more informed about it, all right, as you write about it today, should sound a little differently. Okay, so these are kind of more of the particulars. We'll talk about some of those later. Obviously, we have an academic audience. We're kind of framing our research question or our argument, perhaps, wherever we are in that particular process. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then, of course, the MLA format, which we're going to address in a little bit more detail also over the next several weeks. So fret not. So these are the 2 documents that are posted on the Moodle page there, and we'll go back to that in a minute. But we think about project outline, and I really like this outline because I think it helps us really think about what are the things we need to address in each section. So in your introduction, right, provide a brief attention getter that allows you to segue into introducing the topic of the research paper. If we haven't talked about attention getter so much, I want to say that we did maybe for the proposal. We'll talk a little bit more about those again, right? How do we get the person's attention? A lot of times it can be in the form of a startling statistic, right? So this introduction should sound different because it should come from something that new that you've learned, especially diving really deep into your annotated bibliography. So it shouldn't have the exact same words. It should be different because you've learned some more, right? You've grown a little bit in your understanding of this particular topic. So introduce the topic, explain how it's relevant, why is it important, right? Now that you've written, especially about 4 of your sources about relevance, then you've also learned more about by summarizing some of those things and summarizing each one of your sources, especially your main 4. And so those provide you just with more information about how this topic is relevant. And then provide the info with the letter C here, what they need to know. Why did you take on this project? That might be similar from your proposal, and so forth and so on. And each one of these has a specific work, right, or has a specific purpose that it's doing. So that's the introduction kind of as an example. And as I did kind of a summary analysis and relevance, I'll do something very similar